Aerith is dead. Like, that doesn't need a spoiler warning or anything. Aerith dies is basically the I am your father of video games. Even people who've never played a Final Fantasy game know about it. It's been referenced and parodied and taken the #1 spot of countless top 10 video game moments that made you cry lists. Even nearly 30 years later, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't at least have some surface-level knowledge about it. So, with news around the development of the third and final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy starting to trickle in, discussions that lingered following the end of Rebirth have started winding back up again. You'd think that a remake of a soon-to-be 3-decade-old game would be pretty cut and dry when it came to speculations around its narrative, but Final Fantasy VII Remake has proven to be less of a remake and more of this sorta rebuild of Evangelion-style reimagining. Or maybe possibly a sequel of some kind? It's too early to say for sure, but what is safe to say is that the Remake Trilogy has made no small effort to keep its fans guessing. The games are very aware that players already know the story of the original, and it likes to play with their expectations from time to time, hinting just that the very idea the game might do something drastically different will have people on the edge of their seats, only to then have everything play out exactly as it did before, with maybe just a few differences here and there. Yet, even so, in the lead up to Rebirth's release, a question began stirring. A question that, on its face, seemed so preposterous that no rational human being would even think to consider it. But what if? I'm curious, do you think Aerith is really going to die at the end of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Or do you think she'll make it to the third game? My god. What a fucking clown. Who would think? Holy shit. Huh. Aerith Lives is the holy grail of wish fulfillment, and the development team behind the Remake Trilogy is all too aware of that, and they really like to tease the idea of it.
7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps. But what will you do with it? Let's see.
That's why you have to make Cloud better. If he's sick, he can't save Aerith.
Till the day that we meet again, where or when, I wish I could say, but
Cloud! Save her!
And I get it. I do, actually. The remake games catch a bit of flack for the ways it tries to shake things up, but from a creative standpoint, I can see where they're coming from. It's not fun to copy a decades-old narrative beat for beat, so why not add a bit of personal flair to it while pushing against the fourth wall a bit? The problem is that once you start teasing the idea of a major character death being prevented, you kinda have a really big decision to make. Contrary to many persistent rumors within the community, Aerith's death wasn't some last-minute addition to the story, but was concocted very early in Seven's development cycle. The question that hung over the team wasn't really if she should die, but rather when. While we don't know for sure, cut dialogues and interactions seem to imply that Aerith was expected to make it at least as far as the Northern Crater, where most people figured she'd bite it during Reunion. And if that was where they originally intended for her to die, then I think they made the right call by moving it. Aerith dying leaves the party in tatters. Call it fridging if you like, but her death leaves a scar on Cloud's psyche so deep that it perfectly primes him for the events of Reunion, And by giving that padding between Aerith's death and reunion, it allows the player enough time to let it really sink in that she's gone, and she's not coming back. And then, just as that starts to set in, the player is hit with another major gut punch. There's also a degree of finality to it. The Final Fantasy series is no stranger to fake-out deaths. Final Fantasy VII as a franchise even has a few of its own. But in Aerith's case, it was truly final. Once she dies, she's gone. No more lines, no conversations from beyond the grave. Well, until you get to Advent Children, but you know. You don't even get a replacement party member. Her slot just remains empty as sorta a memorial to serve as a constant reminder that she's returned to the planet and, well, she's not coming back. But, for as iconic as it is, was her death truly what elevated Final Fantasy VII into becoming the most successful game in the franchise? At the risk of sounding contrarian, I don't think so. Major character deaths weren't something new for a video game, not even for Final Fantasy. The creation of Adam isn't considered an amazing painting just because of the part where the fingers almost touch. It's considered an amazing painting because the whole thing is an amazing fucking painting. Final Fantasy VII's success didn't come from a single moment, but from just being a really well-made game altogether. It was the first game in the series to shift into 3D, and, you know, it may look bad by today's standards, but this was some pretty crazy shit back in its time. Its story was incredibly well written, even beyond all the Aerith stuff. Its gameplay was innovative, for the time at least, and say what you will about him, but Tetsuya Nomura's art direction was, and still is, really solid. It didn't need Aerith's death to be as successful as it was. I think that had Aerith lived, then the game still would have been revered as one of the best games in the series. But I don't know if it would have left as strong of a legacy. The thing is, while a singular moment, be it a brushstroke or a page in a book or a cutscene in a video game, doesn't in and of itself make a masterpiece, it can be the thing that ascends it to the next level. Had Aerith lived, then I think Final Fantasy VII's legacy would have still been cemented as the best game in the series for most people, but I do think its legacy would have also been very similar to that of Knights of the Old Republic, where the part everyone would remember is the part where the player finds out that the background of their character ain't what everyone thought it was. And that was a great twist. But the problem with twists like that is that they're not really easy to talk about. At least, not in the same surface-level way you can talk about Aerith. Like, just imagine this conversation. Hey bro, you good? Nah man, this game I'm playing just left me feeling kinda, I don't know, just hit me really hard, you know? What happened? Well, there's this girl in it, and she's really cool, and I really liked her. And then the bad guy just fucking killed her, man. Oh, shit. Damn, that sucks. Was she hot? Yeah, she was. Now, imagine this conversation. Hey bro, you good? Nah man, this game I'm playing just left me feeling kinda, I don't know, just hit me really hard, you know? What happened? Well, basically, you play as this guy named Cloud, who is an ex-soldier of the elite force of this company called Shinra. Shinra got the bad guys actually got anyways. You find out that Cloud's mentor, guy named Sephiroth, find out that Cloud is really sad. Sephiroth comes back, but he's also the guy who dated one of the party members. And it's just this really big twist that, I just didn't see coming, Damn. That's crazy. I think you get the point. Aerith's death became a centerpiece of discussion around the game that was really easy to become invested in. You didn't even need to play the whole game to understand and invest yourself in it. Boy likes girl. Girl likes boy. Girl dies. Boy sad. It's something that, after years and years of dominating the conversation around the game, it sorta grew into something bigger than Final Fantasy VII itself. Even years later, Kingdom Hearts had people in literal tears over a 10-second clip where an alternate universe version of Cloud and Aerith are reunited. So, it's only natural that the remake team just mentioning that some aspects of 7's story might be adjusted to liven things up a bit pretty much opened the floodgates for speculation about the possibility of Aerith living. And while there are many people who are vehemently opposed to the idea, jokes aside, I don't really find myself being one of them. Others may disagree with me on it, but over the past 30 years, like I said, Aerith's death has become something much bigger than a plot point in Final Fantasy VII's narrative. And if the remake trilogy really wanted to break the mold of its predecessor, then I don't think saving her is in and of itself a bad idea, especially in a meta-narrative context. I see the potential. The original is notable for Aerith's absence from the final half, so maybe there's something to be explored by flipping it and having her present in the final third of the remake trilogy. Either way, live or die, I don't think there was really a wrong choice they could have made in Rebirth. They could have killed her off again and maintained the tragedy from the original, or they could have explored new territory by saving her and take the story in a new direction that truly separated it from the original. There wasn't really a wrong answer. Yet, somehow, Square Enix found one.
Cloud, it's okay.
Aerith.
Instead of committing to one or the other, Rebirth decided to create this weird Schrodinger's Aerith situation that ended up being the worst of both worlds. Fans that wanted Rebirth to stay true to the original felt robbed of seeing the most iconic moment in video game history recreated on modern consoles, while fans that wanted Aerith to live were left feeling frustrated and confused. So, why did they do this? Well, the answer is unfortunately pretty simple. Square Enix knew this was going to be the moment that everyone was looking forward to, and it was the source of a lot of speculation leading into the release. And the more people speculate about the game, the more people talk about it. The more people talk about it, the more hype it gets. And the more hype it gets, the more people start opening up their wallets. And what do you do for part 3 if people don't have anything more to speculate about? I want to make this clear. I like these games. Love them, even. Rebirth was my game of the year. And there's no denying the love and reverence for the Final Fantasy VII franchise as a whole that went into making these games. But I don't think it's cynical to recognize that these games are inherently cash grabs. Remakes, by their very nature, are designed to capitalize on the success of their predecessors. They can still be good in their own right. Many times they can even be better than the originals that they're based on. But at the end of the day, the remake games are a product to be bought and sold, and the longer Aerith's fate remains ambiguous, the more people will look forward to buying the final entry to find out. It's classic cliffhanger shit. Narratively, does it make sense for an episode of your favorite TV show to end in the middle of a major plot point? No, but it makes you want to tune in next week while simmering and speculating about what'll happen next. And as far as Rebirth was concerned, speculate people did. So, is she alive or is she dead? Guys, is Aerith It's obvious that Cloud is just having a mental breakdown. He's just trying to cope with the fact that she's dead because he can't actually process that she's gone. Actually dead, but the Aerith in the Terrier universe is she's gone, man. No, she died. You don't understand. She is alive, and we have to save her. The Beagle universe. Have you considered we actually see? Guys, my head hurts. We have to talk about the themes of the game. The themes are about breaking away from faith. That black materia of the Sephiroth tree. So, yeah, there's a few theories out there. You could make a 4-hour video on all the theories about how Part 3 will play out. Some people already have. But the thing is, regardless of if any of these theories turn out to be true, the decision to kick the can on Aerith's fate has nonetheless put Part 3 into a narrative pigeonhole, and as far as I see it, at least, the only clear way out of it is for Aerith to live at this point. I don't need to say again why Aerith's death in the original works so well. It's the perfect point in the story for it to happen, and how the events that followed treated her death fully hammered it in. By not killing her in Rebirth, they already blew it. Even if Part 3 chooses to retroactively go back and say, oh yeah, well, she did die back in the Forgotten City, you were just being lied to at the time, then it still doesn't matter. The moment's gone. It's why Jesse's death in Remake worked, but Biggs and Wedge's didn't. You can't just save a character or tease their survival, and then in the very next game be like, oh yeah, no, they died actually, and expect for it to hit with the same level of emotional impact. This is doubled up with the series' endless themes of fighting against fate, and of course...
Cloud! Save her!
If Aerith had just died in Rebirth like normal, then that could have served as a fantastic emotional gut punch where, no matter how hard we tried, no matter how many warnings we were given, we still couldn't save her, allowing for Part 3 to shift into themes of acceptance and moving on. But instead, we're getting this dragged out into Part 3, where the players are now going to have to continue playing this guessing game of if Aerith is alive or not. I'm not going to pretend to know what Nojima is thinking or what they're planning to do for Part 3. What I do know, though, is that as much as the remake trilogy likes to tease the idea of committing to drastic changes in the narrative, it seems content to allow the major plot beats to fall in line with the original. So I personally don't think they're going to be willing to commit to saving Aerith, at least not in the way that people would expect. But in doing so, they're going to have to bite the bullet and accept that it's going to leave a lot of players feeling more frustrated than mournful, which is not the sort of feelings you're typically looking to invoke out of a major character death. Do I have faith that Part 3 of the remake trilogy will be a good game? Yes, of course I do. These games have been fucking awesome. But in terms of its narrative, I do have concerns that the climax of the series may end up just being a really big splash when it should be a tidal wave. Only time will tell how this all plays out. Who knows, maybe I'll eat shit on this and Part 3 will have an intricately woven story that'll somehow make Aerith's death even more tragic than it was in the original. Or maybe they'll do something major to change the paradigm by saving her. Who knows? All I know for certain is that when Part 3 comes out, it will no doubt hold all the answers people are looking for. But what remains uncertain is if it'll be the answers that people want to hear.